Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our showcase of the TM6. Now, some of you may not have a TM6 yet, and some of you have. So it's a great opportunity to have a really good look around. So my name's Mandy. I'm a Thermomix consultant. We have Irene and Diana, who are also presenting tonight, and we are all in Michelle Moss's Crusaders. So she is at a leadership conference, so we decided we'd get going anyway and show you guys around the TM6. So before we start, we're going to go over to Diana in just a minute, but at the moment, I just want to let you know what our current deals are. So if you have a TM31 and you would like to trade up to a TM6, and let me tell you, so the TM31, some of them they're up to 20 years old. So if you can imagine a 20-year-old phone compared to what you have today, there's quite a difference. Having said that, there are obviously similarities as well, but you'll see that as we go through. So if you wanted to trade up from a TM31 to a TM6, you get a discount of $250 off the cost of the TM6, which is normally $2,579, and you also get a free bowl and blade set, which is normally $395. So that's a total saving of $645. So that's if you want to trade up. If you never had a Thermomix and you want to purchase one, our current offer is for anyone purchasing, you can get a second bowl and blade set for $49. And you might wonder, why do you want a second bowl and blade set? Well, there are plenty of times when you're trying to race through a whole lot of different dishes, which I've been doing this afternoon, when you're partway through a cake recipe and it suddenly says to you, almond meal, and you go, oh my goodness, I've got everything in this bowl, I don't want to tip it all out, wash it, dry it, and make the almond meal. It's really convenient having two bowls and blade sets, so let me tell you. Both these offers run until the 27th of March. So we're going to go now over to the lovely Diana, and she is going to run you through the TM6.
Hello everyone, I'll just move my camera so you can see. So this is the latest Smart Connected TM6. You'll probably notice that it's still got the same elements that you'd be used to if you do own a TM31, which is, I'll just move here, you've got the time, temperature and speed factors there, which you can set manually. So you can still use this manually if you are using manual cooking. Sorry, I'm just moving it around so you can see me a little bit better there. However, if you do swipe across to the screen there, you'll find the Cookidoo app. So this is a built-in app that you can have in your phone that's on your tablet, that's also in your Thermomix, and it allows you to access over 90,000 recipes worldwide and in all different languages, which is absolutely fantastic. And I'm sure one of the lovely ladies will go through the Cookidoo app later. And if you swipe back across to the other way, you will find all the built-in modes. So some of these modes are very similar to the TM31 modes. So you've got kneading, you've got blending and so forth, turbo mode. However, in the built-in scales, we do have a few extra modes such as slow cooking, sous vide. One of the favorite modes of my customers is the self-cleaning mode, as well as the egg boiler mode. So something so simple as boiling eggs, having a special mode for that to get those eggs absolutely perfect, whether they're soft, medium hard or hard, they turn out perfectly and beautiful every single time. So just increases that hands-free cooking. So, and if you do want to find out more about the TM6, just reach out and book a demonstration with your Thermomix consultant or one of us, and we'll gladly go in through with more detail. And you can either do that with friends or one-on-one. Now, the recipe that I am going to showcase today is actually showing you another mode of the TM6, which is the fermentation mode. I love this mode because I can make my own yogurt. It's also used for things like sauerkraut and kimchi. However, we are massive yogurt eaters in our family. We literally go through kilos every week. So quite easily can save about $1,000 every year just by making our own yogurt, which is absolutely crazy. So this is why I have picked this recipe today, just to show you how quick and easy it is. So I have actually saved this recipe in my weekly meal planner here, and this recipe is called the yogurt with red berry coulis. So you'll find all the ingredients that you require here, the preparation, everything will tell you the level of difficulty, so easy, medium or hard. Most recipes are actually quite easy. The prep time, which is how much time you're needed in the kitchen, and the total time. So this obviously goes for about 13 hours, 20 minutes, but that's allowing that fermentation time as well. And it also tells you the portions. So if you are trying to eat a little bit healthier and get on top of portion control, the Thermix is perfect for that. I know certainly when we first got our Thermix, we actually started losing weight because things like pasta dishes, which is quite easy to get a second and third bowl, it's nice to be able to cook four portions, for example, for our family, and know that that's it. And also down the bottom of every recipe, you'll also find hints and tips. So it doesn't matter if you're a complete beginner or a professional chef. There's always more that you can actually learn. So all we need to do is press start cooking and follow the recipe here. So it's asking for 200 grams of fresh mixed red berries, cut into pieces if they're large. Now, I'm going to just show you all my little hacks, because this is something that I make at least once a week, and my kids usually have this after school or sometimes take it for school. So you can actually use whatever berries you like, or any fruit that you like. Strawberries is a favorite in this family, and quite often, if strawberries aren't in season or they're quite expensive, I just use the frozen strawberries and just pop them straight in as well. So I think I've probably got a bit too many here. The recipe is asking for 200, so I will just pop that in there. And that's the thing too, that if you're a little bit above or over, it's okay. It's not like you're going to get alarm bells. You're still in control as well here. So we just press next, and it's asking for 40 grams of caster sugar. So I'm going to pour that in there and press next. And now it's asking us to pop the lid on. And what I love about the latest TM6 model is basically, if you can read, you can Thermix. And if you've got little ones and you're sick of home readers, this is much more fun to do every night. Now it's asking for our simmering basket, which I've got here. So all these accessories actually come with your Thermix. So you receive everything that you need to get started. And we'll just press next and turn the dial. So that's actually going to cook for about 8 minutes. And at this point, what I normally like to do is check on the preview button and have a look at all the next steps, if there's any other ingredients that I need. So I find that using the Thermix is very time efficient, because I'm not just standing around waiting. I can now go get all my other ingredients or utensils and so forth. So at this point, are we going to jump back to you, Mandy?
Yep. Thank you, Diana. I love that tip on the about the readers. That was awesome. My kids are way past that, so I don't have to worry about that. But no, great tip. And obviously they're helping you do something, which is great. So one of the features that we have on the TM6 is high heat. And high heat goes up to 160 degrees. And it can only be used in guided cooking. So, a lot of things you can do manually. You can get up to 120 degrees aroma temperature manually, and in any of the recipes. But in the high heat recipe, this is what is particular to TM6. So high heat means that we can, saute onions, we can brown meat, a whole lot of stuff. And the other side of this is that you can do things like caramel and honeycomb. So that's called sugar stages. Anyway, I'm making, this is a delicious, delicious lunch. I'm looking forward to this tomorrow. Seared steak and rocket salad. All right. So here we are on my screen. The recipe's there. It was in my week. Diana showed you that. Oh, one more thing. If you're a TM31 owner and the noise of the TM31 drives you around the bend, you can change the settings on your TM6. You can decrease the length of duration of a chime and the volume. So that's pretty good. Diana wouldn't know that because she never had a TM31. All right, so I'm going to start cooking here. It's asking me for 20 grams of oil. So I've got to tear that because I've just taken the lid off. Oil. Oops. And you probably see that, hopefully you can see, oh, you can't see very well, actually. A bit too much light on there. It's always tricky with these things. Hold on. Then let me just go into my settings, like that. Settings, display. Let's try that. That's a bit better. Okay, so another setting you can change. So I want 50 grams of onions that are halved and sliced. So I've just got these here. Put them in there. It's a little bit over, as Diana said. Most of the time, it really doesn't matter if you're a bit over. So what I'm going to do is just get this going. This is not using the high heat. Almost try to use my mouse to do this. And I'm going to go next. And this is going to cook for 2 minutes on speed 1. All right. Now, can you see the little reverse sign there? So that means that we are just stirring. Okay. And in that time, I'm just going to show you. You may or may not know that when you host a Thermomix demo, you can get access to host rewards. So we thought that the 3 of us over this hour will show you the host reward. So whilst this is doing this, hopefully you can still hear me, and I will show you a couple of our host rewards. So, and this is particularly, I guess, if you're a TM31 owner, we used to just have thermo service and bread mats. Now we have a whole lot more, and a lot of them new ones have arrived since the beginning of the year. So this is our kitchen toolkit. All right, this is awesome. We've just been away camping. Kitchen toolkit came with us, and we actually didn't use it camping, but sometimes we do. But we then stayed in a hotel for 3 nights, and we used it there. So it comes with kitchen scissors, a peeler, 3 knives. One of them, this one, is actually a bread knife, and it's also a buttering knife as well. So that's a really cool knife, that one. And you've also got an ice cream scoop, which can also be used to make meatballs, all sorts of things. So this is one of the host rewards on offer. So when you do host a demo, you need to have 3 guests from 3 different addresses, and you get to choose. It's a great way to actually learn a lot more about your Thermomix. All right, so that's one there. And I've only got 30 seconds left, so I will show the other one a little bit later that I was going to show. And the other way to really learn about your Thermomix is to come on board and join our team. So we all have different expertise. We've all learned from other people. Irene is our amazing baker and cake maker, and she won Thermo Stars a couple of years ago. So she's very chefy, all right, and very particular. Diana's very creative. I just cook using the Thermomix. It's awesome. All right, let's go on to the next stage. All right, 1 sprig of rosemary. So I'm just going to cut this in half. Now, somewhere I've seen in the recipe, it says leaves only, but do not put leaves. Don't take the leaves off, because then you end up with lots of little bits in your salad. So I just fold that in half. That's going in. Okay. And then I have 200 grams of rump steak, which I've just cut into little strips. And that is going in as well. I'm just going to spread that around a little bit. There we go. As it says, make sure the steak is evenly distributed around the mixer bowl. And then it's asking me, because we're going to use high heat, it's asking me to put the splash guard on. The other end of my kitchen. So this is the splash guard, and this is always put on for high heat recipes, but only for high heat recipes, okay? No other time. You press done, and then can you see the little squiggles? That just means that high heat is going to happen, and you don't turn to a certain number at all. All you do is just turn like that. All right, and what high heat does is it's going to, this is just asking me to do a bit more of the recipe, which is prepare the salad, which I've already done. So I don't need to worry about that. But you probably can't hear it, but what it does is it stirs, and then it stops, and it's actually sizzling now. I don't know if anyone can hear that or not, but it is sizzling. So think about if you saute onions or meat or something in a pan, you'll stir and then you'll stop, and that's exactly what it's doing here. All right. So now, whilst this is doing its thing, we're going to go over to the lovely Irene, and she's going to start making dish.
Thanks, Mandy. Hi, everyone. Okay, so tonight I'm making the chicken drumsticks in a spicy puttanesca sauce, which is absolutely delicious. So how did my afternoon go? So I essentially added, for those that don't have a TM6, you can add the recipes. So there's I think there's like 95,000 odd recipes around the world that you can choose from. We've chosen this one. What I did is I added it into my shopping cart. So we can talk a little bit about this later, but essentially what I did is I've got the same application on my phone. I've got Cookidoo. So Mandy will go through all of that, but essentially it's on my device in an app, which is loading. I basically go to my shopping cart, that recipe, you probably can't see there, but that recipe is in my shopping cart, and I essentially have a list of ingredients, and as I go through the supermarket I can tick them off. So my shop is probably less than 10 minutes from go to woe. First thing I did this morning is make sure I tick off everything I've already got in the pantry, so there's no waste, and I'm just getting the ingredients I need, which is fantastic. So this is a slow cook dish. Part of this recipe, so anyone that is using these recipes, once you click on start cooking, you'll actually see this is step 1 of 40 steps in terms of going through, and it really is, as long as you can read, you can Thermomix. I love that term, Diana. But if I go up top to those 3 little dots, there's steps I've already done. So if I go back into my recipe detail and I scroll down, I've actually already browned my drumsticks. That's one of the steps. It asks you to marinate the drumsticks. These are huge. They almost look like turkey legs, not chicken. So as I go through, I've already done step 1, and I'm literally up to step 2. So rather than clicking next, you can actually jump ahead, and that's taken me straight to step 2, so I can continue my recipe. So really clever things that have been built into the recipes. So this is asking me for my garlic, it's asking me for my chili, and it's asking me for some parsley, which I've got from the garden, and we're simply going to chop those. Speed 7. To get my spatula. I love this spatula. It's one of the flexible ones we sell on Mix Shop, which I absolutely love. So it then asks me to simply scrape down the sides of the bowl. You can see 3 seconds, nice and chopped, fantastic. I've left the seeds in. I like, oh, I was going to say I like chili, but that just went straight into my lungs, I think. Ooh. It does say spicy. Leave the chili out if you don't like spice. Okay, the next step is for some olive oil, some anchovy fillets, and for some capers. If you don't like anchovy, you're not going to taste the anchovy. It's going to add that really beautiful umami. It's probably one of my cheats. So going back to the chefy word, I often add fish sauce. So if you don't have anchovies, even a tablespoon of fish sauce really brings out the flavor of your sauces. So really good tip. But this is definitely the anchovy fillets. And if you really don't want to use them, something like porcini mushroom is a really good way to do another way to really develop and get that umami flavor. So this is also going to chop. No, it's not. This is going to cook for 5 minutes, pardon me. So 5 minutes on speed 1. Okay, while it's doing all of that, I want to walk through some of our post rewards. I've had this mat since I started Thermomix. This will be 14, I've lost count. This will be 14 years this year. This mat is 14 years old, so I still use it. So I never cut on it. It is used for rolling out all of your pastry doughs without having to add additional flour. So it's got that nice non-stick surface being a silicone mat. And literally the way to care for it is to not slice on it. Wash it and then roll it. So just roll it roll it this way. If you fold it, you'll cause it to crack through those folds. So they are a host reward. In a twin pack, it comes in a twin pack in the host rewards, a small one which you can use for the oven, and this one for my pastry. So I use all of those for my pastries. I'm also going to talk a little bit about created recipes as we get towards the end of this demo, but anyone who knows me, and Mandy will say yes when I say all this, I never follow a recipe. I'm always tweaking and adjusting and making it to my liking. So this recipe doesn't call for any veg other than I think the pasta that goes in there and a few lovely olives that'll go in for it. I like adding some vegetables. We've got some beautiful capsicums growing in the garden, so I'm going to add those in. So when we talk about created recipes later, it's about all these tweaks that I do to make that recipe my own. So there's a few things you can do with creative recipes, like changing the number of people you're cooking the recipe for. So if the recipe can be adjusted, it can be adjusted down or adjusted up. Obviously, things like if the recipe only has 1 egg, you can't go down, but you could probably go up. So most of the recipes are usually for about 2 or more. So not necessarily for one person. This is for me. So this is all going to go in the freezer. With this slow cook, I think it's about a 2 to 2.5 hour cook. Mandy's pre-made one, so she'll show you the dish at the end of the session, but she's also tweaked her recipe. She hasn't used drumsticks, she's used side fillets. So that's the beauty of having a Thermomix. Cook it and make it the way you like it. We've got about 2.5 minutes to go on this one. Couple of the ingredients and things that when I do cook through a recipe, I like to read through it. It calls for passata. Now, if you go through any Coles or Woolies or any grocer, really, there's probably 12 different brands, if not more, that you can buy. This is just the Coles brand. What I look for, though, in terms of the ingredients on the back is something that's got nothing in it. This is 99% tomatoes. It's got a little bit of citric acid, and that's purely to keep it from a shelf life position, to allow it to not go off. Some of them have sugars in them. So when you're reading through this recipe, I think it asks you to add 1.5 teaspoons of sugar. If your sauce already has sugar in it, don't add more sugar. It'll be too sweet when you get to the end of it. If you're going to add some vegetables like I am, these are quite sweet, so I don't think I need to add the sugar. If you're adding carrots, if you're adding sweet potato, or even pumpkin, some of those can be quite sweet. So think about what you're adding in towards, I guess, towards that recipe to try and keep it more, to get the balance right towards the end.
Irene, can I just quickly show my steaks
Of course,
cooked?
yes,
Just
yes.
come back to me quickly. There we go. All right, so yeah, so my steak is all cooked in the bottom of here. Always have to be very careful, don't tip it over the laptop, I tell you. But that is delicious and it smells amazing in here. I'm really looking forward to lunch. So what it asked me to do was put together some rocket, some hard cherry tomatoes. It says caper berries, but I've just got capers. And then it's asking me to put this over the top, which I will. But leaving the juices in the mixing bowl. All right, so that's going on. And this is actually very excited about lunch tomorrow. But this is lunch. But it's an awesome midweek meal. It says that it's actually serves 2, but I'll tell you what, I reckon Andrew and I normally have it. We'll get 2 lunches out of this each. So I think it's a very generous serve. All right, so that's going on there. And I'm quickly going to make the dressing to go with it. So it says 30 grams of walnut halves. Well, the other half doesn't like walnuts, so we've got pecans again. Adapt as you like. 20 grams of oil, which I've got here. Okay. And then we've got 10 grams of lime juice and 10 grams of honey. So I've just put them together in here. They're going in there. Okay. Salt and pepper I actually put in that mixture as well. Pop my lid on. 3 seconds speeds by. And pour the dressing. I'm not going to pour the dressing there because we're having it tomorrow. But can you see? And I'll tell. I wish we had, smell-a-thon. It smells absolutely unbelievable. And the dressing is quite thick. It's got all the chopped up pecan nuts in it as well, so it gives you a little bit of crunch. So that is a really, really easy midweek dinner or a lunch. Thank you, Irene. We'll come back to you.
Thanks, Mandy. So I'm literally, it's just finished browning. So I'm just taking it out and putting it into a little bowl. So just pulling it all out. And you can see the little mixture is there. So that's all my capers, all those ingredients we were doing earlier. So now we're moving into the slow cook component. So this does not come with your Thermomix. This is, you have the option of buying this from the mix shop, or you can earn it, or own it. I guess you could earn it as a Thermomix consultant. You can get it through as a host reward. So it is our blade cover peeler. So it is not only a blade cover, so basically I can cook anything on the bone. I'm not shredding. For those that have cooked with a 31 over the years, I've still, I started with a 31, trying to do something on a bone. If you accidentally process a little bit too high, you can actually shred the meat that's in there. This prevents all that. So this does exactly the same you would with the slow cooker, and it literally just sits on top of your blade. To that, I'm now going to add all the other bits and ingredients. So we're just going to continue. Oh, and I should say peel. It actually peels potatoes. And we've got videos on that as well if you'd like to see them. So just pop a link, pop some info in if you want to see those. So it actually has, interestingly enough, it actually has a video on showing you how to insert the blade cover. There's lots of videos on instructions, which is great through the recipes. So in here is going that mixture that I just took out. And obviously it doesn't want to process it, which is why it's asking you to pull it out so it's not rubbing up against the blade. Next, we're adding in our passata. And the recipe calls for 700, which is exactly what this jar is. And me being me, this sounds really funny. The next step is asking for water and lemon juice, which is what I've got in here. And I'm literally pouring that into the jar so I can rinse the jar out. I don't know whenever anyone else does that. I do that. Always add.
Absolutely.
So there's no waste. No waste.
And tins. Yeah.
So anyway, so that goes in as part of the recipe. So the water. Okay, so that's my water, my lemon juice. Then I'm adding in a couple of pinches of cinnamon. And that's, I eyeball it. I'm not a tease. I only measure with cakes. Some cayenne pepper. So go easy on the cayenne or leave it out if you don't like the heat. I'm not putting in the sugar. So as I said, I'm putting in some vegetables which are quite sweet. And I've already for me, I've put enough pepper already on the chicken, so I'm not adding any more. And salt, I'm going to see how I go. The anchovies sometimes can be a bit saltier, so I just want to wait till it's cooked down a little bit, and then I'll taste the sauce and I can adjust right at the end. Okay, so I'm not really sure why it's asking me to mix. It's going to mix on its own. Okay, chicken goes in. Now these are quite large. So, but as I said, I'm adding veggies. So I think the recipe calls for like 6 or 7, or was it 7 or 8?
7 to 8.
7 or 8. Okay. So this is 5, and as I said, they're quite large. I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but there's still room. I could probably fit in another 2. So for me, that's perfect with all the veggies that I'm going to add to it. So I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so now we take the lid off and we put the simmering basket on top, and that's going to cook for half an hour. on the slow cook mode. So for those that want to use the slow cook mode, it is one of the modes that's in the Thermomix. You can still do things manually with the Thermomix. It's up to 8 hours of cooking, anywhere from an hour to 8, which is pretty good at about that 98 degrees. So just below boiling point.
Awesome. Thanks, Irene. Now we're going to move over to Diana, and she's going to tell us all about the yogurt.
I love it how you say yogurt.
I can't change it. I've lived here, I don't know how many years, I can't change it.
Oh, you just remind me of Jamie Oliver. That's all. Every time he goes yogurt.
That's all right.
Sorry,
I'll take
I'm not
that.
making fun of you. I'm not making fun of you. I think it's very cute. So I think, Mandy, while you were cooking, or Irene, my berries had actually finished cooking, and then there was a step to blend it all up. And I just thought, well, you don't really need to see how a Thermomix acts as like a blender, because if you've got a TM31, you know it can blend up pretty well. And if you don't own a Thermomix, you probably hear people talking about it being a glorified blender, but it certainly does a lot more than that. So the next step after that, I'll just go back to where we are, is to pour that beautiful berry coulis into little glass jars. You can actually pick up these glass jars from the mix shop. And I've actually got 2 packets now, because I find when I am starting to run low in the fridge, I got an extra box so I can make another batch. So then, you know, just in case, I don't have to wait for all of them to be eaten if I want to make more. Plus, I can make different flavors as well. And the other thing is too, is that if you don't have these glass jars, you can use any sort of containers. And what I've actually started to do, which I think is pretty cool. So I'll just show you. Unfortunately, I haven't cleaned this. This is my son's lunch box. It's the new lunch box that you can get from the mix shop. And it's a little bit festy because it hasn't been washed. It's come home from school. But you can actually get special little containers that fit in perfectly, that are like this, and all different colours as well. So what I have been doing lately, and you can get a 2-pack like this, is that, because obviously I wouldn't probably give my kids a little glass jar to school, but I do like to make yogurt in these containers so they can take it to school. And the lunch box from the mix shop actually has a little utensil that's got a spoon on one side and a fork on the other. So it's fantastic, and it clicks in place. So once he's eaten his yogurt, can pop it back in, and we don't lose any spoons and forks anymore, which is brilliant. And these containers also come with a silicone lid. So the good thing is that everything can go in the dishwasher, and when it goes through the dishwasher, it pretty much gets sterilised then. So I have poured that coulis into all of these containers, just roughly like so, and they all fit in the Varoma there like that. So if you are not using your Varoma, reach out to your consultant and book in a demonstration. It's nothing to be afraid of. And once you start using your Varoma, you'll be maximising your investment in the kitchen. You can do so much more. So that step has asked me to decant that berry coulis, and now it's saying clean and dry a mixing bowl. And this is where a second bowl can be super handy. And I find sometimes if I'm in a hurry, I just get my extra bowl. As a consultant, I've actually got quite a few extra bowls because we have earned them as incentives in the past. So there are a lot of perks of being a consultant. So I've just got the clean extra bowl there. And now it's asking us, now I'm just going to follow the instructions like so, but I will show you my little hacks and tricks next. So it's asking us to place a little bowl on top of the lid like so. Press next and weigh in some, oh, actually I'll get a different bowl because that one's used up. Here we go. So different bowl there. And I'll just tear the scales so they go to 0, and it's asking us to weigh in some natural yogurt. So any sort of yogurt, I actually ran out of yogurt and had to pick up some from the supermarket, and absolutely pains me. It pains me to pay almost $10 for a litre when I can make it just for a couple of dollars. But we accidentally ran out, because you can actually make a batch of yogurt and save a little bit at the end that you can use as a starter, because this is the starter here for your next batch. So you actually don't really need to be buying yogurt once you start making your own. So we're going to weigh in about 55 grams of natural yogurt here. Oh, I've got a little bit over, but like I said, that's okay. and press next. And so it's asking us to pop that bowl aside. And now we're going to add 1,000 grams, about 1 litre of full cream milk. Now, this is my little trick here. I find 1 litre of milk is too much for all this. So what I add is about 900 grams because you don't want to have any mixture left over that doesn't get used. So what I'm doing here, I'm actually using UHT milk. And the reason is that when you're using regular milk from the supermarket, one of the steps that you need to do is heat up the milk and then cool it down. And that's just to get rid of any extra bacteria that might be there. So it allows you to make your yogurt. However, when you get your UHT milk, it's already had that ultra heat treatment, which is why it can last on the shelf for years. So you can actually skip that heating step, which makes this recipe so much quicker and easier. Sorry, I'm just trying to look at the scales upside down. You get very good at cooking upside down when you become a Thermomix consultant. Oh, a little bit more. There we go. So I am actually using UHT milk. So you can just use your regular milk. You can use organic milk if you want. I've just started using A2 milk. And that's why I've got an A2 starter, and that's just because I'm just experimenting and trying something new. But you can use your home brand varieties, it doesn't matter. So I've added my milk in here, and this is at this point it'll ask you without the measuring cup to heat up your milk to 80 degrees. So this heats up for about 10 minutes and goes to 80 degrees. So we've normally turned the dial, and then we allow that milk to cool down, and it can usually take anywhere between 45 minutes and an hour. So another benefit of having a second bowl is that while this is cooling down, you can actually get another bowl and cook another recipe if you had to. But we're going to skip this bit because once that milk is cooled down, what you actually need to do is add some of this cooled down milk into your yogurt mixture. But and that's just so you don't basically shock your yogurt. Correct me if I'm wrong, ladies, but it's just kind of putting a little bit of that warm milk into the yogurt, and it's also to help dissolve it as well. But as I said, I hope I'm not confusing you all. We're not going to heat up that milk because we don't have to with the UHT. We're just going to pop that yogurt straight in there, like so. And then we can skip ahead and we can add some full cream milk powder. So the scales pop up here. Now this recipe is asking for 50 grams. And if you like a really thick, rich yogurt, I usually do 1.5 times the quantity of milk powder, or double it as well. Like, especially if I'm making just a plain natural yogurt, if you like your like Greek style yogurts, I would actually recommend doubling that milk powder. So we'll pop on to next, and now it's asking to put that lid on. And I'm just going to increase that time a little bit, but we're going to turn the dial and allow all of that to mix up. Oh, I just remembered my little trick here. So this is a recipe that I've kind of created. I call it strawberries and cream because it's got the strawberry here. So what I like to do is add a bit of vanilla paste. So sorry, I did tell you this was going to have a few hints and tips. And it's funny because I make this recipe all the time and follow the recipe and just do my little things. But Irene has reminded me as we were jumping on that I should probably put this in a created recipe so it actually has the steps how I like it. So next time I don't have to skip through and jump through all these different steps. I can just follow the steps normally. And I don't know if you noticed, but that little button there is also your emergency stop button. So if you do find, oh, I've forgotten to add a step or I've forgotten to do something, or you just want it to stop, you can just press that button and it'll stop for you. Okay, so, and as you notice, there was a little bit of sugar in that berry coulis in here, but in this vanilla yogurt up the top, I don't add any sugar because I figure that this is enough. And this is why I normally I'm okay with adding a bit of sugar down the bottom because this yogurt on top is just a plain vanilla flavoured yogurt. And what my kids like to do is actually mix up all that berry coulis with the natural yogurt, and it is sweet enough. And the kids actually, and you will find yourself, will get used to having a yogurt, natural yogurt like this with a lot less sugar, because the sugar, the yogurts that you get from the supermarket have got teaspoons, if not tablespoons per serve. So I'm not going to show you how I decant all these, but this is what it looks like so far. So we've got the berry coulis. I've got strawberries in this case, but if you want to do blueberries, raspberries, you certainly could. And the other thing too is that if you wanted to swap your sugar for a keto-friendly sugar like monk fruit or stevia, you certainly can. Just follow the instructions like so. Now, these jars have these cute little silicone caps that stick on like this, and then that goes in there. So what we normally do is fill all these up. I don't want to do it right now, but once we've filled all this up, we then rinse this bowl. So I've actually got another bowl here all ready to go. We just press next, and it's asking us to add 250 grams of water. So we'll add all that in, press next, and 30 grams of lemon juice. Now, if you actually go into the tips section of your recipe, you can actually use a teaspoon of citric acid instead. So I do have a lemon tree, and sometimes I've got too many lemons, so it's not an issue putting some lemon juice, but I just find actually for ease now, I just put in a bit of citric acid, and I don't really measure it, which is a bit naughty of me, because teaspoon's about a teaspoon. And then what we do is we pop that lid on, take that measuring cup out. I'll just move the camera a little bit so you can see. And then we place that varoma with all those jars and lids on, and pop that varoma lid on there, press next, and all the settings have been pre-selected for us. So it's going to go for about 10 hours of fermenting. The temperature is 70 degrees, and that's the fermentation mode symbol there. So we just turn the dial, and that will actually ferment. Now, I tend to make my yogurt overnight because it's so good that you can have your Thermix working while you're sleeping. And so just be mindful of this when you do start your yogurt, that you don't want to be starting this, for example, in the afternoon and then finding it's going to be ready at 3 a.m. or some crazy hour like that. Mind you, if it does stay, go for that little bit longer, it's okay and it's turned out, because there's been times where I've forgotten about it and it's been fine. So this is really wonderful to get the yogurt on in the evening before you go to bed, so it's ready in the morning, or you can actually pop this on in the morning. So while you're at work, it's working for you. When you get home, it should be ready. Because the other thing too is that you don't want to put this on and then realize, oh my goodness, I was going to use my Thermix to cook dinner, unless you've got 2 Thermixes, of course. So I'll just show you what that yogurt looks like, because I did ask my son to keep me 1 sample left to show you. And you can see it's got the nice beautiful vanilla beans up top. Where's my teaspoon? Oh, here we go. And just show you how thick and rich that is, like that. It's absolutely beautiful. So, you know, everyone's got their own way of eating yogurt. You can either eat the top part, or you can mix it all together like that. And look, if you do like your yogurts a little bit on the sweeter side, by all means, add some sugar to that natural yogurt as well. Now, I am supposed to talk about also a few of the other host rewards, one of which, my favourite, is the thermo server. So you can get a round one as well as an oval one. These are not things that you can purchase from the mix shop. So quite often, if I've got new customers and they're hosting their first demo, I highly encourage them to get one of these thermo servers. There are so many situations where we might cook dinner and then we don't know when our partner's going to come home, or life is so busy. I find often I'm cooking dinner after I've picked up the kids from school, and then we might have after school activities. So I'll pop dinner on, it'll be cooked, pop it in here, do our after school activities. And when everyone walks through the door and they tell me how hungry they are, it is just so satisfying that all you have to do is lift that off and dinner is ready and they can eat straight away. And these thermo servers are also brilliant because they actually look nice enough to serve if you're hosting a dinner party or something like that. And it's really great if you've got a few of them, especially when you have a curry night, because you can have a few different curries going on. You can have your rice kept warm here and your naan. They do, like I said, they keep food hot for up to 2 hours, but they also keep food cold for up to 2 hours. I'm just trying to think where I've got my oval thermo server. I think that's right. It's under my laptop, so I'm sure one of the lovely ladies might be able to whip one up. But the oval thermo server is that little bit wider and about this tall. So what I love about that is quite often I'll put my icy poles in there. I don't know if any of you have got children, but sometimes you might go out and it's warm. It's nice to have them there, and saves you having to pick some up from the local sports store or swimming centre or wherever they are. So that's another little tip of mine. And the other thing that is a host reward, and it's something that you probably wouldn't have seen if you had a TM31, because it's only come out recently and compatible with both the TM5 and the TM6 models, is this little thing here. So this is called the glider board. So the same principle with the TM6, TM5 and the TM31 is that because we've got the 3 rubber feet in the bottom of the machine that helps with the scales, you don't want to pull, push or glide your Thermomix along the bench, because it can damage your scales over time. So what we've come out with is this new glider board that it sits on, and even if this is completely full, heavy and in use, you can quite easily move this board around with one hand. And this is really handy if you've got a big deep bench. And so, like I know myself, I like to kind of tuck my Thermomix back in the corner, but when I want to use it, I can pull it closer to me. Also, I find I don't have this problem. Luckily, I'm very tall, but some people are a little bit short, so they do find that they want to pull that Thermomix a little bit closer to themselves to actually look inside. So just all those little things is really handy. But also, like if you've got little kids that want to cook along with you, it's much easier for them to move it around as well. So and what I love about this too is that when you are using the kneading mode, and sometimes it can do a bit of a wobble, I find that owning a glider board does minimize that a little bit as well. I don't know if you ladies find the same thing as well, but I love the glider board for that too.
Awesome.
Now, yes. Have I gone through everything?
You've done an awesome job, Diana. Thank you very much.
I'm like the newest one of the trio, so I get very nervous with these, but I have learnt so much from everyone over the years, which is lovely. And it's been so nice to be part of this Thermomix community, which is beautiful because we're all learning from each other. And we always talk about it being a journey, but I'm learning from my customers just like my customers learn from me, and all other consultants, which is a beautiful thing. Awesome.
Thanks, Diana.
Thank you.
I don't think she can be nervous. She likes talking, really.
I do.
So whilst Diana was talking, I pulled out the other couple of thermo servers. So,
beautiful.
So this is the white thermo server, and this actually, so if you're a TM31 owner, you had a 2.2 litre thermo server, all right? And this is a 2.2 litre one. Fits in your Varoma, and that means you can actually make yogurt in your Varoma in this thermo server. So a 2.6 litre thermo server will not fit in the Varoma.
So that's the one I use, Mandy. So instead of using the little jars, I just fill that with my yogurt, and then that thing goes in the fridge. So
awesome. And I make mine in the jug. So we all do it differently.
Oh, I do make the jug ones too. And what I love about that is that you can make 2 litres in one go.
Absolutely.
But can I just quickly mention, sorry, because I did forget to get it out before, that using that, sorry.
There you go.
Sorry, using that same method that we did before with the little jars, if you only wanted to make a litre of yogurt at a time, instead of using the bowl method that makes 2, you can actually get these vacuum seal containers from the mix shop. I'll use any other containers, but I actually find that these are the perfect size. And instead of popping the little jars in, you can pop this in. And you can make your natural yogurt, which you can use for all different recipes. I tend to make a natural yogurt because then I can always sweeten it if I need to afterwards, or I can use it for my savoury cooking. But I just wanted to also quickly show you that this was a sweet vanilla bean yogurt that I made yesterday. Or actually, I made it during the day, and just to show you how thick and creamy that is. And it's so lovely that you can actually see all those vanilla beans. And if you didn't want to use vanilla bean paste, you could certainly use just a vanilla extract and get that same effect. But I do like the little vanilla beans. I think it just makes it a little bit nicer. So that's another little tip. Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. If you've got any more, come back.
That's it.
All right. So that's the oval thermo server that Diana was talking about. And I totally agree. If I have people around for dinner and we're having curries, the thermo servers look awesome on the bench. So I was just going to show you this is the large vacuum seal container. So Diana just showed you the one that she makes her yogurt in. And I'm not going to show you how this works with this because it's a very big container. But this is one that's, so with these containers, the bottom's glass. If you take this bit out here, this can go, all right? It can also go in the freezer with the lid on, but the lid, these two do not go in the oven. It does mean, though, you can make a lasagna by taking the air out. You're not going to get freezer burn as well. I'm just going to give you a quick little demo on a small one of these. So this you can buy in the mix shop, and this is a smaller one than the one that Diana showed you. Currently, I think they're 25% off, so it's a really good deal. And what we all love about these is they come with, you get a little wand. So if you're buying them in the mix shop at the discounted price, I think you had to buy the wand separately. But when you buy the wand, you also get some bags that you can use to vacuum seal. Why we love it is because all I need to do is put this on here. I don't know if you can see the little, you watch that little white thing here, all right, the little white bubble. And I'm just going to put this on, watch the bubble. Oh, it's popped already. Okay, so that means that I've got a vacuum in there, and it's fantastic. I've just got some parsley in there, but it's really great for keeping things. We went overseas last year. I put a few vegetables into the size that Diana has, and they were still more than usable by the time I came back after 5 weeks. So this is a really good way. It's very sustainable, really good way to make sure that you're not wasting veggies and things. All right, and I've got to show you quickly the chicken drumsticks that aren't drumsticks. So mine finished just before. It's a really beautiful thick red sauce there. A bit hard. I can't tip it up too much more, otherwise it'll go everywhere. But it's beautifully cooked, and it is in a thermo server. But what I could do is put it in that big vacuum seal now, and we're going to have that tomorrow night. So I've been very lucky. I've made tomorrow night's dinner and tomorrow's lunch. All right, just moving on. I'm going to give you a quick little tour. I know we're getting close to time. Quick little tour of Cookidoo. Okay. So that was the recipe that I made. But just bringing you back to the... Diana, would you mind muting, please? Thank you. All right, so this is the front page of your Cookidoo. We all have a profile up here. So top right-hand side, you can go into your profile. You can edit your preferences. You can do a whole lot of things from there. Select your filters for different countries and things like that. All right, but you can. This also gives you. It shows you the latest recipes on Cookidoo. Look at this. We're doing an Easter class next week, and I'm pretty sure this is part of that. And I will pop when I send you all an email afterwards with the recording, I will put in some events that are happening. So next week we have an Easter class happening at Glen Iris on Thursday, and there's also the same night one happening at Moorabbin. So $35 for a ticket, 2 hours, you get to taste, you get to talk to everybody, ask as many questions as you like. All right, so there's a whole lot of things. Oh, look, mocha eggnog Easter bake. I can see that coming on in Irene's house. All right, so we can start searching in here. So I'm just going to bring this one up. So my we've got an engagement party in our house this weekend, and she wants this in the shape of a heart. All right, so just to show you quickly, you can click into a recipe. As Diana explained, there's various things you can look at along there, how many people it serves, etc. It tells you the ingredients. It tells you, shows you the method. And down here, it also gives you nutritional content and tips and tricks. always worth looking at the tips and tricks at the bottom, because there's some really interesting things that you wouldn't even have thought about. Okay. All right. So I might say, right, I want to actually add that to my week, because I can meal plan here, add it to my week. I think it's in for Saturday, but I'll put it in again. All right. And then I can also go, right, I need to shop for that. I'm going to add that to my shopping list. Okay. The other thing I might go is say, right, well, I actually want to remember that recipe, and I have done this already, so I can add it to a collection. I've actually got a little collection called Christmas Breads, which it is in already, but I can remove that in a minute. So then if I want to go and find that again, I can go into my recipes. We have saved recipes. These are saved collections. No, they're not. Yes, they are. That's the whole barbecue cookbook. All right. So, we would use the high heat. These are high heat recipes that you can use. And we've got the blade cover that Irene was using when using the slow cook. Cooking with high heat. Again, there's a few recipes in there. There's that delicious salad I've made. And just to show you, these are some of the things you can use. Is the high heat, but it's the sugar stages. So all sorts of incredible, dangerously delicious things in there. Okay, we can also create collections, and this is one of mine, 30-minute meals, best cocktails as a result of lockdown, different bread recipes, the whole works. And that one I just put in there, Christmas breads, got some different things in here. Okay, so that's your creative recipes. So Irene and Diana will have different creative recipes, collections to me. It's whatever you decide to make. So when your TM6 arrives, there are no creative collections. You make your own. And then if I go into my week, you can see I've had a busy day. There's the chicken drumsticks. I made soup. That's Diana's recipe. So I actually made this today as well. This is getting ready for the party. I hadn't actually put the Christmas tree pull apart in there. So there it is, ready to go on Saturday. And it will also now be on the screen of my Thermomix, ready to go on Saturday. The other thing from here, I can go up here and I can look at my shopping list. All right. So as Irene said, the app is slightly different. So this is on my computer. This is on the website, the Cookidoo website. When you've got the app, all these things are at the bottom. But basically, I can go through here and I can go, I know I've got yeast. I know I've got sugar. I know I've got water. I might not have the bread flour. I probably need to buy the cheeses. I've got olive oil, got the salt, and so on. And anything else I want to add in, I can add in here. And you can have as many recipes as you like in there. All right, so there's plenty more to learn about Cookidoo. And the best thing to do, as we've said, is to just saw Deborah's thing, comment about wanting to lick the spoon. I'd like to lick that spoon too. But there's plenty to learn about Cookidoo. The best thing to do is to get in touch with your consultant, host a demo, and then you will make sure that you're getting the most out of your Thermomix. All right, so we're going to go over quickly to Irene, and she's going to just talk to you a little bit about the created recipes.
I just need to work that out. Oh, here we go. Share screen. Back to this one. Okay. So similar to Mandy, I've got the Cookidoo app up. I'm just going to go to my recipes. This is a very quick version of creative recipes, but ideally book in a session with your consultant to really go through this and to really understand Cookidoo and how to get the most out of it. One of my favorite recipes, so if I look at my bookmark recipes, is this beautiful creamy coconut chicken curry. So first thing you'll see up on the top, what you'll see on the top right hand side is portion control. So I say portion control, but really if you want to cook more or less. So this can go down as little as 4 or as high as 8. If I choose 8, or I should show you that. If I go back to what it was, so if we go to 6, you'll see it showing that very first ingredient, 700 grams of cauliflower. As soon as I go up to 8, you'll see it completely adjusts the recipe. So it actually adjusts all the ingredients in that recipe. I can actually make that recipe my own. So to do that, you essentially copy this here. So I'm just going to copy the URL. So I'm not sure if you guys
can just go add.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Sorry. Shortcut, add to creative recipes. Let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to call this creamy coconut chicken curry. And I'm just going to say Irene, just for the sake of converting it. I'm going to delete this later and confirm. So I've updated the name. So I've made it my own. I could probably take a picture of my own recipe as well. And down the bottom here, I tend to change up and add, as you can see, I'd like to add vegetables in. So you can actually click the little icon here and you can modify anything you like in here. So this is exactly what Diane would do to her yogurt recipe. So where she's tweaked it and used UHT, she would remove that first step because she doesn't need to boil it, for instance. And here, if you don't like cauliflower, take the cauliflower step out. If you don't use garlic or you prefer to use, I don't know, you don't like garlic or you love ginger, maybe you use, instead of garlic paste, you're using onion or whatever. I'm just saying that there's options to change things around, and things like adding vegetables in, I can literally put a plus in and type in, I don't know, carrots, and whatever grams that was. I'm just showing you an example. And up here, wherever I'm adding those vegetables, I can say ginger paste. Oops, I'm going to edit that as well. And in here, I can change orders, delete steps, add in additional ingredients. So that's really giving you a very quick version of that. But I think the best thing to do, once you confirm it, the best thing to do is talk to your consultant, find a recipe that you absolutely love, and walk through it with them to show you how to convert your recipes. So we've all got cookbooks, we've got articles or recipes we found in magazines along the way over the years, grandma's recipes that you want to convert into Thermomix. So spend some time with them going through that and converting that recipe. For me, the easiest way to do that is to find an existing recipe. So let's say it's grandma's gorgeous chocolate cupcakes. Find a chocolate cupcake recipe or a standard cupcake recipe within Thermomix and then use that to modify. What I've also done is we have recipe communities. So there's lots of recipes that we've shared already. So I've got my hot cross buns, Tangzhong hot cross buns from last year. That recipe's on the recipe community and you can pull that into your Thermomix and you then use it as a guided cooking recipe within your Thermomix. So that's kind of how creative recipes work, but it's great. So it's one of the added features of Cookidoo. So, and I believe there's more features coming. So there's more things getting rolled out all the time. As you can see with, even with our guided or our inbuilt modes, you know, we keep getting new modes added all the time. So it's a bit like, I guess, your phone, you know, where more and more functions become available, more and more gets updated and added to your Thermomix, which is absolutely brilliant.
Awesome. Thank you very much. All right, so if you've got any questions, I should have said this at the very beginning, put them in the chat, and very welcome to come off mute and ask any questions. But just before we finish up, first of all, I'd like to thank Irene and Diana. Thank you so much for coming on and doing your thing tonight. It was awesome. And you can see how much fun we have together. You know, we really do. We all enjoy doing this. We love helping other people. We love cooking for our families, doing these things as well. And we learn so much. So if you'd like to come on board as a consultant, there are so many, oh my gosh, so many awesome things, incentives that you can get. So just for 3 sales this month, you can get a second bowl and blade set. So, you know, that's really awesome. And the last thing I wanted to say, apart from saying thank you to all of you for coming along, is that when you take delivery of a Thermomix, have a delivery demo. Because when you have a delivery demo, you get a couple of your friends over, when, you know, we do 2 or 3 dishes together. And as a result, just as a result of that, you get a 20% discount voucher for the mix shop. So that's pretty awesome. But having said that, at the very moment, I think it's up until Tuesday or Wednesday, can't remember which date, we do have discounts. There's a big sale on in the mix shop. So well worth going there and checking out, particularly these vacuum seal containers. Honestly, we all swear by them. They are absolutely the best. I took some camping with me. I had berries in there the whole week. They lasted 10 days. So, you know, it would never have happened, you know, in the warmth when you're camping, but I didn't have 38 degrees, thankfully. So if anyone's got any questions, feel free to ask us now. I'm going to stop recording, and thank you all again so much for coming.